up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with a review for Love and Hip Hop New York, Season 9, Episode 8. So kind of a heavy episode, wasn't it? I was like, well, I mean, you know, I had a little bit of foolery in it, but for the most part, it was a little deep. I guess they're trying to get to the issues, you guys. Mona, what you got up your sleeves, bitch? Anyway, you guys, the review. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, so let's start with Yandy. You know, she feels bad about what happened with the little girl, Infinity. So she was able to reach out to a lawyer, and they were able to get an emergency court hearing so that she can get temporary custody of the little girl. So that is what she did. They're allowing the little girl, Infinity, to stay. I keep saying little girl. I think she's 16. They're allowing her to stay with Yandy while Yandy goes through the process of becoming foster parent certified. Okay, so all is well that ends well. At least that's what we think so far. Okay, so the girl's happy to be there. Yandy's happy that she's back. The kids are happy that she's back. She sits down with Infinity and she tells her, okay, now even though you're here and, you know, we're happy to have you, you know, it's going to be some rules. You're going to have to be open and honest, okay, and abide by what I say. You dirty up dishes, you need to clean up behind yourself. You're not going to be able to go out and do things like you want to all the time. Okay, when I say you need to be home by a certain time, that is the time that you need to be home by. Clean your room. Do as I say and everything will be fine. Okay, and the girl is shaking her head like, yeah, I know. Okay, you know, she's 16 years old. We know how teens can be. But it looks like Infinity is promising that she'll do right by Miss Yandy. So it's been all good. Okay, it's working out fine. And, you know, Yandy, I guess, had been posting on Instagram and her social media that she has the girl there with them. And everybody is pretty happy for them except for Miss Judy. Okay, y'all know that Judy is Mendici's mama. And she hasn't really had much contact with the girl, but just from what she's been seeing on Instagram and, you know, Yandy's social media, why do you have this girl? So Yandy is talking to her about the little girl, how she mentored her, and then how she kept telling her that she was going to run away because she was unhappy with her foster parents. And Yandy had decided to take her in. Well, Judy was like, I've seen her and she looks like she's pretty well taken care of. So, like, what's the problem? Even though you can't tell these kind of things from pictures, we all know that. But Judy was just like, you got this girl, you don't know her. She's, you know, been in and out of the foster system. She could be anything. Like, what do you think in bringing her around you? She looks like maybe she just might be a spoiled little girl who might not be getting the way, you know, getting to do what she wants to do, 16 years old. And Judy is just not understanding. You got her around my grandchildren. Yandy was like, well, these are my kids. So I'm going to make the best decision for me and my kids. But, you know, even though Miss Judy gets on my nerves, she has a point. You know, you have to be careful. Foster children, you know, everybody deserves a home. But, you know, a lot of these children have been through so much and they have a lot of baggage with them. And not everybody is equipped to deal with a child that has been through so much. And especially when you have your own little children, you have to be cautious. I mean, that is just what it is, the sad state of affairs. So you know, Miss Judy, her old stank face and her, you know, how she always looked, even though it gets on my nerves, I wasn't mad at her because she had legitimate concern. So Yandy says to us that she trusts Infinity, but she knows that she needs to get to know her. So she sits down with the mother of Infinity, and I'm sitting here looking at this whole thing and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I mean, I just can't believe that the mother actually agreed to sit down with Yandy on camera and talk about her child, considering she doesn't have her child. The whole scene was just weird to me. I mean, I get that they're trying to recreate or trying to just, you know, let the whole story play out on screen, but it was strange, you know. So Yandy sits down with the lady. Yandy is telling her how, you know, she was running away from the foster home. So Yandy had decided to take her in and she just wanted to make sure that that was okay with her mother. And her mom was like, I just want whatever is going to be best for her. I just want to make sure that she's in a safe place, and that she's going to be all right. So I guess these two are, so far, everything is okay. Yandy is thinking to herself, like, dang, her mom is nothing like how Infinity says that she is. Okay, the mom seems to have a good head on her shoulders and is concerned about her daughter. Even though the mom tells us that she has 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls, it wasn't clear if she has custody of the children or if Infinity is the only one that she doesn't have custody of. But as they're sitting there talking further, and Infinity's mom gets to telling her how she ended up in the foster care system is because Infinity was running away and wouldn't be home when she said that she needed to be home and was kind of just doing whatever she felt like she wanted to do, not listening to the mother. Then she got in, Department of Children and Family Services, I guess, got involved, and then she ended up going to go stay with the grandmother. But then the grandmother has rules, and Infinity doesn't want to follow the grandmother's rules too, so she was running away from the grandmother's house, and that's how she ended up in foster care. So, Yandy is like, so she hasn't been in foster care her whole life? Because Infinity had told Yandy that she's been in and out since she was a baby. And the mom says, no, she just recently went in. The way the mom was saying, it was sounding like within like a year or 2 ago. So now Yandy is confused, like, this is totally different than what Infinity told me. And this is the things that we have to be concerned about when you take in foster children. It could be a whole lot of stories that are made up for whatever reason. So Yandy don't know what to think, but Yandy seems to like the mom, and now she's not sure if Infinity has been telling her the truth. All right, so when she leaves from meeting with the mom, she's on her way home and she gets a call from her assistant who tells her that her assistant and Infinity were in the car together, and Infinity got a call, and then she just jumped out the car and ran. So now Yandy don't know where she is, and she's walking up and down the street in the neighborhood, and she's trying to make calls, trying to find out where Infinity is, and then all of a sudden here up walks Infinity, and Yandy was just like, what's wrong with you? Like, what you doing? How you just jumping out of cars and running? Like, where you been? What is wrong with you? And Infinity says, well, you're what's wrong with me. You went and talked to my mother? When were you going to tell me that? And Yandy was like, well, what do I have to tell you for? I mean, that's your mama. I needed to sit down and talk to her and make sure that she was okay with you being with me. Now, what is this about you, just recently getting into the system? And the girl was like, so that's what she told you? So you going to believe her over me? The fact that she lied? Now she's trying to make me look like I'm the one that's lying. Infinity is insisting that the mama ain't did nothing for her. And Yandy was like, your mom has done stuff for you. What are you talking about? You wouldn't be the person that you are today. You got good grades in class. And she was like, I got good grades in class because I did my damn homework. Okay, I studied. Okay, no thanks to my mom. I'm coming home, I'm doing things, for my mom that no child should be doing. She's drunk, she's with some man laid up, she's, drinking, drugs, whatever. She's never helped me at all. So now when Yandy is sitting there talking to Infinity, this story ain't matching up with what mama said. And she's not knowing what to think. But, she feels bad. Like, what she does believe is that the girl has had a rough life. And she feels bad for that. So she wants to be there for her. She wants to help the little girl. So she tells her, look, I'm going to fight for you. Like, I really am going to be here for you. I'm not going to turn my back on you and throw you away like, some other people may have done in your life. But, I just need you to trust me, and I need you to be open and honest with me. So they hug, and, Yandy and the little girl, they got a long road ahead of them. They got to get to know each other. I really hope that it works out well. You guys told me in my comments that she does have a little girl and she's been there for some time, and it seems like it's working fine. Of course, we're just seeing it from social media standpoint, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that they have to deal with. I guess we'll find out more of them trying to work the kinks out and get like a smooth routine and, relationship with each other as the show goes on. But yeah, a little bump in the road for Infinity and Yandy. All right, you guys. So we see old man Richie Deal, and we find out that his ex, which is his baby mama, Miracle. Remember, they had the daughter Ashley together. Well, she went and shot her ex-husband. I guess they was having some sort of domestic abuse situation in the house, and she went on and had to shoot him in his ass. So he didn't die. However, Can't just go around shooting people, right? So she's in legal trouble now. He's sitting down talking to his mom, and he's telling her how it's a lot of fallout even from this, because now his daughter, who is in college, cannot get her financial aid because the mama is a felon, or the mom is being charged, and maybe we don't know if she's a felon yet, but you know, now the government is like, no, we're not helping you, because I guess the mom had also filled out her FAFSA and was, you know, the guardian or the parent that is on her financial aid paperwork. So the government is like, hell fuck nah, bitch. And now the little girl is like, well, what am I supposed to do? And so, you know, Richie D is like, it's a mess. He ain't even sure if Ashley really knows what's going on. And his mom was like, well, you need to go and get her. Okay, why you got your daughter up there with all that carrying on and shit that's going on? You perfectly fine where you are. You need to bring her up to New York. She don't need to be around the violence. So instead of him going to go get Ashley, he has both Miracle and Ashley come up to New York. They're going to try to figure this shit out. He's scared for Ashley, obviously, because the mother is in trouble. So, you know, we all sit down and he's asking Ashley how she is. And, you know, she's good. You know, Ashley kind of seems like she's in the dark a little bit about what's happening. And Miracle says, well, you know, I just try to keep a lot of stuff away from her. And old man Richie D was like, why? Like, you going through it. She's old enough to know what's going on. She deserves to know what's happening around her. Well, that ain't how Miracle has seen it. So they're like, you know what, Ashley, can we talk? You go on in the other room. So Miracle tells old man Richie D that, you know, the girl don't need to be worried about her. She ain't told her everything. You know, they did try to charge her with attempted murder, but, you know, since he didn't die and they downgraded it, now it's just aggravated assault. But she's still going to have to go to court, and she, you know, they're going to probably offer her a plea deal, and, you know, she just going to go from there. And he was just like, what you mean you just going to go from there? Like, you going to go there, they're going to throw some bullshit ass plea deal to you. You know, that ain't going to work. You're going to end up going to court. You know, you may lose your case. You may go to jail. In the meantime, you not telling nobody what's going on. And she was just like, I just need everybody to just, he was like, you need everybody to do what? She was like, I just need everybody to remain prayerful. He was like, prayerful? Remaining prayerful is what got us in this mess in the first place. I said, now you ain't gonna put this on Jesus now. You ain't gonna do it, Richie D. Now don't. You guys praying is not the reason why Miracle had to put a cap in his ass. So let's get that clear. But he was just sort of, you know, frustrated, you know, praying. Like, in the meantime, life is going on. You might go to jail. You got a 19-year-old daughter who don't know nothing that's going on about, you know, what's happening. You down there with this nigga, y'all fighting and whatever is going on. You know, she says, well, you blaming me about this? And he was like, well, I mean, kind of, yeah, he blaming. See, he just feels like, he just wishes that he knew. I'm thinking, like, what would you have done had you known what was going on down there? You living your life in New York. They living their life. Where are they? In North Carolina or something like that? So, I mean, what exactly? No, it was Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know what he thought he would have done. But, you know, they go back in because they were talking out on the balcony. You know, he had then got so upset and excited that they had to go outside. So they came back in, and now we sitting down with Ashley. I said, is that the same girl? That's the same daughter that was staying with him a couple of seasons ago? I mean, I was looking at the girl and said, she looks totally different. Totally different. That is the same girl, right? Because that's the same mama. Anyway, they sit down and they tell Ashley, your mama might be going to jail. Okay, and Ashley, you know, she get the little tear, you know, little musters. You know, Miracle feels bad for putting Ashley through this, so she apologizes, and, you know, so then she's kind of having a teary eye, and then, child, we get old man Richie D gives us the waterworks. He's telling Ashley it's gonna be bad before it gets good. Okay, so just prepare yourself. But then all of a sudden he get to crying. He feeling bad because, you know, he should have never left Memphis. If he would have stayed down there, then they would have been together still. They would have had a family. He would be the dad to Ashley that she needs. He would be the man for Miracle that she needs. She wouldn't be fucking around with some old fuck nigga and having to shoot his ass. So he feeling bad. I was just like, I mean, you could say these things, but you don't know. You could have stayed there, and your relationship still might not have worked out. The mom says this is not your fault. It's not his fault. So don't feel that kind of bad. But, you know, they're going to work it out as a family together. And then he looks at Ashley and he says, and Ashley, you need to get you some therapy, because with everything that you've seen, been around for the last however many years, that he may or may not even know about, it'll benefit you to go sit down and talk with somebody. Then the third extra heavy was Joe. Okay, Joe goes to see Dr. Jen. Okay, he went to see her some years ago when he was feeling a certain amount of guilt over the fact that he was not there for his son. He has an older son. I guess the son is an adult now, but he was not there at all for the son as he grew up. So he was feeling guilt about it. He went to see Dr. Jen. She helped him work through some issues back then. So now he's there and he's telling her about sin. He's fallen in love with his best friend, and she was the perfect person, and they got along well, and everything was going really good. And then she got pregnant, and he found out he was having she was having a little boy, and he was so happy. And then the doctor says, because now you get to be a father again, you get a second chance of doing it right. And then when he started crying, I said, oh Lord. I said, Joey, don't cry. At first I was looking at it and I was just like, is he really crying? But when he looked up and his face was all puffed up and them tears and stuff, and he was just kind of like almost shivering a little bit, I was just like, oh Lord, I wasn't prepared for this. But it was like he felt relief that he could try, to right that wrong, not with his older son. I guess him and his older son have worked out. Now they have a different grown-up relationship. But that shit he's never going to be able to go back and do right again. So now he's got the chance to do it again. So, it means a lot to him. So I was really touched. But you guys know, y'all know I be real soft. But I do be hoard. But I was really touched on that part. I was just like, oh Lord. So anyways, he's telling her about sin now that they have these issues that weren't there before. And he's concerned about it. So she was like, do you think that she'll talk to me? And he says, well, hold on. Let me go see if I can find her. Okay, she's right out the damn door, Joey. But okay. Mona's like, go on in. So Sin goes in there. She sits down with Dr. Jen. She's thanking her for coming. And then Joey's like, okay, I'm going to leave. She's, oh, you leaving now? Yeah, we're going to let y'all have a discussion. I'm going to go sit out here with Mona. So it's so funny because when you go see these therapists, you be dead set against going. But as soon as Sin sits down, okay, and the lady says something like, how are you doing? I know it's been hard. Sin the waterworks start going. She's crying. This lets you know that she needed to go because she definitely needs to get whatever it is off her chest. She needs to release this inside of her. The lady said, I know it's been hard being a mom, right? And she says, yes, it's been very difficult, and Joey's really busy. He's never around. And I just feel stuck. And I don't want to feel stuck about my family, my child. But Joey wants me to get a nanny. She doesn't want to get a nanny. Dr. Jen asked her, why not? She just doesn't trust people around her baby. She won't even let anybody change his diaper. She explains to her that when she was little, her mom used to have to work like 20 hours a day. She was gone a lot, and Sin would be left with a lot of different people. Dr. Jen says, and some bad things happen, and, Sin was like, yeah, it's things that she hadn't even told her mom. Only a couple of people, including Joey, even know. So as they're sitting there talking more and more, Sin finally tells her that she was molested by a woman when she was 5 years old. Now, she doesn't trust anybody. She finds it very hard for her to trust people, and definitely not with her child. She's just feeling like, this is her way of controlling and making sure that nothing happens to her baby. And Dr. Jen was like, you know what? I'm listening to you talk, and this is really not even postpartum. This is more so you reacting to some former trauma that has happened in your life, and now that you're faced with having your own baby, this is now all bubbling to the surface. She tells her, we're going to have Joe come back in there. So Joe Budden goes back in there, and they're sitting down, and Dr. Jen tells him while Sin is sitting there basically the same thing that Sin has been saying. You're gonna have to work through this to fix it, okay? You can't be short-tempered, or you can't get annoyed and feel like she's getting on your nerves when she's asking you for something that she needs. If you can work to meet her halfway, then maybe you guys can be able to meet in the middle. And then once she feels like that comfort from you, maybe she, she'll work up the nerve to be able to leave the baby with somebody. And you guys, so it's just, you're going to have to help her out through this one though. So Joe has been put to task. So we see later on that Joe and Sin goes out with Remy and Pap. They tell Remy and Pap how, they went to meet with Dr. Jen, and Dr. Jen told him that he needs to make more of an effort for what Sin needs. So, he took some time off. He took a day off out of his busy schedule. He dropped the baby at Sin's mom's house. He had the house all romantical. He was ready to fuck. And Sin went out dancing with her friends. Sin says, she lost track of time. She was having a good time. She wanted Joey to come with her dancing. He didn't want to go, so she went. And then by the time she got home, he was asleep. Now, that would have pissed me off if I was Joe Budden, because now we trying to spend time together, right? So somebody's gonna have to compromise on something. Joe Budden is not the type to go dancing with no damn Jonathan and who's the other one? Why would he want to do that? Okay, so if the issue was that you two needed to be together, then you needed to stay your ass at home. But she doesn't want to be home. Like, it's this pull between the two of them. So they're going back and forth. And Pap says, well, I think you guys ought to get married. And they were like, what? He's like, yeah, because if you get married, then then it won't be any option for you to, you'll have to work it out. I understood what Pap was trying to say, but I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, no, that is definitely not the answer. That is the reason why a lot of people, when they get married, have like really false expectations, because marriage does not make things better. If anything, there's all this confusion of what people do expect out of each other, when the other person was just like, I had no intentions of doing that. Okay, so then that's when the shit gets real fucked up. So yeah, you don't need to get married when there's issues that still needs to be worked out. And even Joe Budden said that, like, no, I don't think that's really the answer. And I was glad he realized that, because I was just like, no, marriage is not always the answer. Don't start your shit off on shaky ground like that. And it's just going to crumble on away. So that was it for all of the heavy stuff. I was like, Lord have mercy. Now, let's get to Jonathan and Sydney. They hung out last year, and they figured that they liked each other enough. Mona was like, I'm going to bring the bitch onto the show, and, Jonathan going to need somebody to talk to, So let's act like you guys are friends. Now they're hanging out. Sydney says that with all the drama going on with Richie D and Jacques and now Nia Lee, going off on her the other day, she just needs a drink. So they meet at a bar, and she's telling him how, it's just been really hard as a transgender woman. She trying to be this real big star, hence Sydney Star. Okay, she want to be as big a rapper as Cardi B. And he was just like, oh, okay, slow your roll. I mean, like, do you have as much talent as Cardi B? Oh, child, why he say that? What you mean? Yeah, I mean, he was like, okay, if you got that much kind of talent, then I want to see you get up on this bar. Sit your ass up there and recite some bars. And what did I tell you guys about Sydney, honey? If anything, Sydney is ready. Sydney don't have no problem reciting them bars as soon as you ask for them. Okay? You ain't said nothing but a word. Sydney, get up on that bar. Yo, when I walk up in the room, these bitches staring like I'm taking stuff. I don't need your money, honey. You don't even make enough. You looking at the queen top down when I'm pulling up. Baby, I'm a star. You better catch me on this caller tune. You can Google me. I'm on this page. 1 million views. You best say it. You best say it. You best say it. I run this life. I was there when they put the concrete down. I helped lay it. I'm that bitch. Jonathan was like, oh, Lord, there's a whole lot going on. You best say it. You best say it. You best say it. I said, girl, you best say it. Shit. He was like, yeah, that was a whole lot. I was cracking up when he was like, I can't do this anymore, Sydney, and walked off the damn camera. So, she's telling him how old man Richie D had told her that it was garbage, okay? And he was sort of looking like, yeah, well, she was like, and Nia Lee, he hooked me up with Nia Lee and she was going to help me. But like I told you before, she got a bone to pick with Nia Lee. She feel like Nia Lee was rude to her the other day when they was together, She feeling some kind of way about that. She going to have to, she going to have to bend Nia Lee's ear now. And Jonathan is listening. He says, yeah, well, you know, Nia Lee, she could stand a little makeover. You know, he looking at her face like, yeah, she need a whole overhaul. Okay, she just needs some finessing. She's telling Jonathan about like how everything has been real hard, but you know what, she ain't gonna give up because as a transgender woman, I said, girl, how many times you gonna say it? I mean, how many times are you going to say as a transgender woman, we know you are a transgender woman. You don't have to keep beating us over the head with the fact that you a transgender woman. As a transgender woman, as a transgender woman. We got it. So later on we see Jonathan and he is doing a makeup class. He has Nia Lee as his model. So he's working on her face and, you know, he's talking about how he thinks it's really great that Nia Lee is mentoring Sydney Starr. Sydney Starr needs the guidance. So when the class is over, Sydney shows up, and Sydney is not in the outfit that Nia picked out for her. Oh no. Well, she is. All right. Nia Lee was looking at her like, what the fuck you got on? And Sydney was like, you know, I got your dress on. And she was like, that is not the dress that I told you to wear. Oh yes, it is. She just had to, you know, she had the Sydney Star it up. Okay. This shit is ripped up on the sides with some strings and her titties all out and the strings tied up. Child, that dress was screaming. Sydney feels like, you know what, she can still be sexy, elegant, grown woman Sydney Starr with her own style. She don't need Nia Lee's style. So Nia Lee gets upset, like, you know what, bitch, you sitting around here, you fucking wasting my damn time. She's going off on Sydney Starr. You better be glad that this ain't the old Nia Lee. I'm thinking to myself, like, what Nia Lee is it? Okay, because she immediately, I said, girl, you need to calm the fuck down. You need to bring that shit down to a simmering 250. Because, bitch, you was all the way at full broil, like 575. Like, she just, you know, she just went crazy. And then Sydney, because she's listening to her yelling at her, you know, Sydney like bucks at her, which I was just like, okay, Sydney, now, why did you do that, child? Because now Nia is even bitching you. I know you're not trying to do nothing to me. Don't you ever buck your ass at me like that. You know, Jonathan is looking at her like, what is wrong with you? Are you crazy? Don't do that to a New York girl. No, definitely don't do it to Nia Lee, because Nia Lee been looking for a fight all her life. Shit. Sydney was like, I'm just playing. Like, will she calm the fuck down? No, honey, Nia want to whoop that ass because now you done offended her by cutting up her little dress that she told you to wear. And, you know, she trying to be big sis to Sydney Starr, you know, and Sydney ain't listening. I was listening to this whole thing. I said, Nia, girl, you need to get a fucking sense of humor. You need to understand that everybody ain't gonna do what the hell you tell them to do. You need to understand that that's a grown-ass woman over there, dog. You need to calm down. Alright, you guys, that's it. Let me get off of here, get me some lunch, and get it on back to work. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.